neighbors that we would do. The neighbors that we would have this annual meeting to talk about how the terrace is doing as a function of their greenhouse. So we do this every year, and we appreciate the candid feedback and concerns and ideas that you share with us. Then for anyone who wishes to stay longer, we will have some advocacy updates on the 198 past here, as well as Jason would like to give you a few updates on the enhancements, such as what's happening with this enclosure at the terrace. So with that, we'll start with the update on the projects, and I will run through these as briskly as possible. These are all part of our 5-year plan. We are working with the Marcy Casino right now in the city. We're going to hopefully be putting in for some capital improvement funding to have the rest of the concrete repaired here. We do have concrete that's actually fallen, or sandstone that's falling off the side of the building. It's becoming a bit hazardous for patrons, so we will be working with funding for that. As you know, the staircase to the west, that is a city project, also capital improvement. It is with DDA condo construction. We are hoping that they are going to be clearing out some of their construction materials. As you can see, they were kind of placed all over the lawn. They also have all of their construction materials up in Shakespeare Hill, and I know that Lisa is like, please, please, please get this out of here so Shakespeare can start practicing about midday. Is that when they're going to set the stage? Sure. Okay. All right. For any of you that don't know, wonderful Lisa Ludwig. She is the executive director for Shakespeare Park. So then, in addition to that, we have the Grand Staircase Project. It was a project that we've been working on, and that we received lots of donor support and the Wilson Foundation support for. So, as you know, the stairs were in terrible disarray. We worked on a design build because you never know what's underneath. It was very interesting to find out what's underneath, as in absolutely no substructure whatsoever, no stringers, no drainage system. So it was a bit of a discovery. It's taken a bit longer than we thought because of those discoveries, but they are in the process of redoing everything, and they're going to be laying in stone this week. So as long as the weather holds out, we should see new staircase by June. So that is our plan. But it is a bit of a war zone. And it's really untimely that we've got this project, that project, Albright Knox project. It's like everything's happening at once. So I understand. The Rose Garden is going to get an overhaul. Through COVID, when we didn't have a whole lot of workers working with us, the garden kind of fell into disrepair, but we also found that in our taking care of the Rose Garden over time, instead of having multiple gardeners, some of them bought stock from this place. So they bought stock from that place, bound up with contaminants. So we have complete soil remediation, and we're going to be bringing back the garden in phases. So these are just some brief slides. Didn't know if you wanted to know the Rose Garden history, but originally the Rose Garden was going to be where they're going to build parks. They didn't. It's a full Rose Garden. So we've got the 40s, and went to the year. We've got the 60s, where the Parks Department came through, and the American Rose Society started helping us. In '93, we actually created a group called Rose Buddies, and they helped us take care of the garden for quite a while. And in 2004 is when we took on maintenance of the whole park system. We have, as discussed, we need a restoration desperately. The roses were dying. So we've been doing some historic research. We did the conditions assessment, and we do have a maintenance strategy planning that's happening. And we did receive funding for all of this from the Peter C. Cornell Foundation. So it is so we've got our phases and our plans. We are meeting with helpful volunteers if anybody would like to get all of that equipment, and you can help us. We help desperately, and then we are benchmarking this. We have done our soil analysis. We have gone through all the historic garden plans and found the heirloom roses to the best of our ability to replicate those. So the beds are going to be coming back in their original form. Here's the timeline. We're focusing on 2 if this is how you walk in, this is kind of the bridle route over to the pergola, like a T, we're focusing on a section for the first phase, and we will be building it out from there. We took out all of the shrubs and bushes that were along this perimeter that weren't historic. We're actually going to turn those into bulb beds, so there will be spring color that will come before the roses. So hopefully that will be a really nice addition to the garden. So you'll see in spring right now, we're doing the demo and planting. Fall, we'll be planting phase 2. Then it's just like a lather, rinse, repeat. Every spring we'll be redoing the plantings, and every fall we'll be demo phase. So by spring of 2026, we should have a beautifully restored garden. And I'm sure all of you are going to screenshot this right now to help us with volunteering. But we do have, if you want to get involved, Christy Munson, who is our volunteer coordinator, she can be reached, Christy at @hellohearts.org. We would love that. So, you're all here. We know that there is a lot to share about what's happening in the area. So I would like to basically open up the floor right now and let's discuss how things are going. I do have 3 topic areas that we have to cover as part of the conference. So one of those is the business of the terrace. Are there any issues right now that are happening with the business of the terrace that you would like to talk about?
When you say business of the terrace, what do you mean?
How they're operating, their menu, their services, anything that is the operational business.
Not as it pertains to customer parking.
Not as it pertains to parking yet. That is a big separate issue and for good reason. But business, yes.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that, we go there multiple times during the summer and even the year. It's really been very happy place boots with the way it's being run with full service near. And so I'm really pleased with the way.
That is very good. They've been a very good partner in sharing with us. They've also started, not soliciting, but we put a little postcard, a historic postcard with the bill that let people know their contribution to the service. So it's a very good helping partnership. Yes, Lisa.
I can say too, I was a great figure with Shakespeare. He helped us a lovely relationship. It's so wonderful for our audience members to get come here before and after. And the collaboration and cooperation that we've had, especially over the last 8 or 9 years, 10 years, has really been wonderful. And I think it's just a beautiful place to be able to come have dinner, see a show, go to a museum. It's really pretty awesome.
It is, and I know Jason will talk about this a little bit later, but with the closure, I think will also help from some.
Yeah.
All the different activities that are happening. Okay, so the second thing, if we're done with business, the second thing is parking. Everybody should be.
Well,
Yeah,
I want to say as a neighbor, dealt with parking, that I really appreciate the Olmsted Conservancy and your service to our city. And that comes from the heart. I live on the 3rd house from the art gallery. So I'm on the tip of the spear when we talk about parking in the complete lack of parking enforcement in the parkway behind the gallery. It's a threat to the public safety. And as a private business owner, I don't think any business should be allowed to willfully break the law and put the public safety at risk. I know if I did it with any number of the businesses that I own, I'd be in jail.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the illegal parking that goes on here. And it's twofold. When we had the initial meeting, when you rolled out the idea of bringing an operator in to run the casino, if you go back and look at the minutes of that meeting, the primary concern of the vast majority of people who attended it, and I was here, there wasn't enough parking prior to opening up a full service restaurant. So the question was, how is the city going to handle the increased traffic. And how the city has handled the increased traffic is they don't deal with it. And it's putting us all at risk. All at risk. Now here's the numbers. I called the commissioner's office for the parking. They averaged 2,400 tickets in the past 2 years around Rumsey and down the Parkway and down the airport. 2,400. You do the math. That's 1,200 tickets a year, 100 tickets a month, 20 to 25 tickets a week. You could come out here any day of the week and do 70 tickets. We have valet parkers that work for the casino that are parking cars on Iroquois. And when you park cars on Iroquois, it forces you into the oncoming lane of traffic. It's a clear danger. I put up with it for 2 years with construction workers, Marston Casino. I called the commissioner. I got better things to do with my time, but I live here. And it's a quality of life issue that's making it horrible to live here. Horrible. So I called the commissioner. He saw what the construction workers were doing. They were parking along Iroquois, even though there was plenty of room to park on the parkway, because they were doing it for their convenience. Parking enforcement wasn't writing tickets. The Buffalo police were driving by it. Finally, the commissioner came down. And for what it's worth, I've been in the trucking industry for 50 years. I live, breathe, and walk safety. What we're doing out here to benefit the private enterprise is immoral and it's criminal. You don't have the right to do that to the neighbors here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And your department is turned the other way. The Buffalo police have I've called many times. The Buffalo police have turned the other way. The guy that works for the parking department, he spends more time parked at the inner loop at the Buffalo Zoo than he does over here. That's a fact. There has been a complete disregard for the neighbors, and it's got to change. And I, for one, truly appreciate the relationship between the route operator, the Olmsted Conservancy, and the additional revenue stream that it represents to Olmsted. I get it. But where do you draw the line? I mean, where do you draw the line? There is no line. So here's what happens. You have the valet parkers that are employees of this restaurant, illegally parking vehicles on the bridge that goes over the 198 where it clearly says no parking. They're parking on Iroquois, which is creating one lane, forces you into the oncoming lane of traffic, and the commissioner ended it with the construction people over at the RPS. It's going to happen again, and it needs to stop. In addition to that, when you look at where they're dropping the cars off, behind the art gallery, to the valet parkers, there are no lines in the street that even tell you what lane you're in. In addition to that, there's no traffic signals. There's poor lighting. Somebody's going to get hurt, and it's been going on way too long. Now, I realize this is about this casino, and I was told by your person who's taking over yesterday, and if I can add, I told you I live 3 houses from the art gallery. The first house from the art gallery didn't get a notice about this meeting. The president of Olmsted, who's my next door neighbor, the second house from the gallery, did not get a notice about this meeting. The third house from the art gallery, me, I did not get a notice about this meeting. I hope that was an oversight and not intentional. It seems awfully unusual to me that the 3 houses that are on the tip of the spear aren't being notified about this meeting. I realize this is about the casino, but I got it on for a minute. Your crews in October took all the leaves on the parkway and blew them to the resident side of the park. All the leaves. In October, they just picked them up. Go look at the damages to the parkway. Go look. Would you like to come across from that? get it appreciated. Where are the curbs? There's no curbs. Look at the condition of the parkway. Look in front of the president's house, the second house from the art gallery. It's a mud pit. The vast majority of houses on the first block of the parkway from the art gallery to Forest don't have curbs. There are no curbs. They're on the parkway. Half the parkway is being destroyed. If you can drive down the parkway and take a look. Am I embellishing any of this?
No,
All right,
No.
thank you. Thank you.
no, but I.
I mean, no, yeah, I know,
Sure.
nothing against this man and just on him tonight. And I side with him, parking problems. But I think that amongst us all, we get a time limit as to how long we can speak. Nothing against you, and believe me,
Well, so tell me when I can stop.
well, I know that, but I'm saying that maybe we should have a time limit. That before we start, we know we're gonna speak for 5 minutes. Okay, so if it's my turn, I wanna go back to this.
Well, I'm not done.
Go ahead, sir.
All right, there's a going to be back to part. What is going?
So.
And you were talking to the other side, there were some sentences that they didn't
I'm
get.
sorry.
But from the other side, looking at my wife, Judy, I think that she agrees to everything.
I agree
She
to
was
what you
noting-
said.
I think that what is important and what I got, and it's not everything that I have when I follow it, is that there are positive processes in our neighborhood. However, they might have impact on the neighborhood. And for instance, if we look at the Albright North, or what is now the Buffalo Museum, it's terrific, but it's going to increase the parking requirement, the traffic around. If there is a change in the 198 pathway, we are going to have more traffic in our own streets, in our own neighborhood, and there are many other impacts on our neighborhood. So I think that we should see what might be the impact and to see that the impact is really positive on us, because this is our interest. We are part of this community, but we are this neighborhood. And what is the impact on the positive developments here to really keep it positive also for our neighborhood? And not just in the Buffalo News newspaper.
But you're correct. I mean, the parking on the other side of Nottingham, people are parking on both sides. There's no regard for the regulation whatsoever. And the museum is not even open. What is going to happen? You know, I welcome this beautiful museum and the casino. I love this casino. But there's got to be regulations put in, right? You've got to, the law has got to provide some kind of order. Otherwise, because we've seen just lately, you're parking on both sides of the street, there's garbage all over, and where's the order? There's garbage everywhere, and people don't care.
Even 50 feet of the property.
Yeah, 50, exactly, 50 feet, yeah, 50 feet. No problem.
Can
So I agree with you.
address that for 1 second? One of the things that the Olmsted Conservancy agreed to do with the initial meeting, were you here at that meeting?
Yes.
You agreed to clean from curb to curb.
Correct, and we'll get to that,
So we
but
could,
we're gonna talk about parking.
you did it for 1 year and stopped it.
No.
Yes, you did.
No.
Well, I lived there, I'm sorry.
That is,
I lived. In the last year and then I have to. Any business I've run, you through the peak periods. What is the peak period for us?
well, we just hired our seasons. just.
Well, I've never seen anybody here on a Saturday or Sunday
Yeah,
picking
they
up
don't
the
go
garbage.
outside.
Do you have anybody picking up the
We
garbage
do.
on Saturday?
We do, but here's the problem with this, okay? Our guys pick up immediately. We can't just be waiting in the bushes for when the next person decides to drop.
I've never seen any.
I'm just, we do, we pick up, we can't mow, we can't take care of anything unless we pick up the trash.
I'm talking about Saturday and Sunday.
We have staff, but it's not the full crew that we would normally have on the day, right? It is a limited staff on the space.
Well, why is that? Why would
Because we
you?
don't. have
Well, but
people.
my point is, why wouldn't you get a flex week where you're crewing to your business time?
They do, they try very, they do.
Well, we have regulations here and we have things on paper.
Right.
But if we look at the experience of the recent cherry blossom events in the Japanese garden, it's beautiful. However, it's obvious, and we see it on a daily basis, that the city doesn't impose the parking regulations in the neighborhood. And there are no tickets if somebody parks in my driveway, for instance. Or I'm not talking about my side of the street. And I think that it's a group. We have to at least express our concern that the city would impose the city regulations around our beautiful sites.
No, I think everyone here would agree that there needs to be more enforcement. And I would recommend that as a result of this meeting, that we do some type of letter, some type of signature element that we send to the parking. Who's branding as well. And let's make this much more of a group concerted message that we're tired of the flagrant behavior and no ticketing, no enforcement. Because our staff is landscapers. They're not. They need to park on enforcement on the weekends.
Parking.
From non-emergency number.
I just wanted to, I want to introduce myself to those I haven't met yet. My name is Linda Merrick, and I'm actually the head of preservation and safety at the AKA security, but we don't call it that anymore. I thought I had another card. Was there only volunteer? I just want to volunteer at the meeting and then start. I'll be here for a little bit after. I would love to take your names, give you my email, and put you in communication. And yes, we are aware that phone call that you're referring to from the commissioner actually came to me. Well, it went to the chief and then it came to me about them parking on Iroquois.
Why did it take 2 years?
Oh, well, I've only been with the museum since September, so I can't answer that, but I'll be here to talk if you want to,
Well, it can be a change, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit there.
So people are parking in front of the fire hydrants. That's obviously the problem. We should have tow trucks cruising through here periodically and tow them out. You don't need more regulations. They're plenty. You can't tell where the stop signs are. You can't see them. You can't see the striping in the road. So
That is something that our staff could do, is if we see somebody blocking a driveway or a fire hydrant, we can call a tow truck, but,
be proactive and say, hey, this is money for you guys.
right.
You should cruise to that neighborhood. It's busy and get what you get. There's plenty of people violating the law and you don't need more regulations to do that.
I'm just curious. Why hasn't there been parking enforcement?
I don't know. It's like everybody gave up during the pandemic. We had the AKG being built. I know it's probably not ideal, but we had other projects happening. I'm not sure we knew that the city was going to be doing a stair project at the exact same time we were doing the same project, so there was some communication probably there. But we've got 3 major projects happening at the same time, and that's just not ideal for being on space. And then we've got a restaurant trying to operate it. We've got a theater group that's now going to be coming in the summer. parking is a premium. And the way it was working before all of the construction started is Jason puts out, and he still does, he puts out a parking plan to the parking commissioner who approves it, that approves his valet plan every single year. So it's not that something is being done that nobody knows about. The commissioner approves his parking plan. If he hires out the valet, they are not his staff, it's a contract. So if there are problems with his contractor, he should know, so we can do something about his
Well,
contract.
does that plan include parking on Iroquois and the bridge going over the?
I don't know, No, it's fine.
Before all of that started, there was a lot of things that all kind of accumulated to the last, the bubble we've had over the last, couple of years, that have impacted this. One, is when Albright, shut down their parking lot. For years, we always, were able to. Albright where we push, our client, provide the good car program, all. And, they had, so they shut it down. When they started construction, we had a meeting and they promised, they you're not gonna be parking. We're out, we're about, so that all the contractors and stuff would have a different spot, they wouldn't be, taking over the side of the park. That fell through, and they said, well, sorry, there's nothing we can do. That's greatly impacted, us and everybody. Just by having, and then it got postponed for another year. On top of that, you had, the pandemic, which stressed the staffing levels. Like, I know parking force, they were understaffed. I know the valet companies, part of the parking plan, were supposed to come, set up, certain amount of cones at a certain, time to, in an approved area, which does not include, Iroquois at all. And I haven't seen anybody of the Valley Parkers parking any cars there. I would have ripped them new one because there's lots of cars up there. I'm saying they haven't been, they're not parking cars. You're wrong. Okay, if they are, I mean, I can't watch all of them. They bring in, the kids, they're made very aware of, what the, parameters are. We have a golf cart that we rent for $500, every month.
You mentioned the golf cart, right?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned that golf cart.
Yes.
Right. So
And that's
when
good.
you go out to the casino, when you run your golf cart, you run on the paved surface and then it becomes unpaved. Go look at what your cart has done, running in the water, in the snow, in the moisture. Look at, with all due respect.
I use the cart from May 1st, right? I use the cart from May 1st to September 3rd. It's not running in any snow.
Well, it's running in the water, it's running after it rains. I mean, I live here. I don't want to be here, but I'm infringing on the quality of my life to the point where it's repugnant. Repugnant.
Just a question about definitions, maybe because I'm new to this. You're talking about a parking commissioner.
Yeah.
And then you have jurisdictional police, you have your own police department that you do not have police departments.
We have no enforcement.
You, right, okay, so the enforcement all falls to the city,
It does,
okay, and that would go to the parking commissioner
correct.
as a city law enforcement officer. Okay, I
Yes.
understand.
Yes,
And none of those people are here, right?
they were invited,
Very good.
and we'll talk about the invitation.
Thank you.
But no, everyone should have received a postcard. Everyone that I have emails for should have received an email. Anyone that's in our database should have received some. So if you're not in our database, if we never talked to you before, I don't know what to tell you. But we did a post office blanket of this whole neighborhood. We sent out over 244 postcards to every single resident. So we try to do our best. And as I know that my CFO told you, we try not to put anything in an envelope because then people think it's a solicitation. All it does is make it into the trash. So we try to make sure that it is a postcard so that it isn't confused. So Leon, I know you want to hold it.
I think unfortunately, all these things that the park has done, the restaurant, Shakespeare, all of these things are a wonderful addition, but nobody thought about the impact on the neighborhood. There is no place to park. But during Shakespeare, the park both sides of Rumsey Road, you couldn't get a fire truck down there.
Right.
You had to claim my window.
Yeah.
And I just think the city needs to step up and
Yes.
deal. But all the running races, all the things, all start here. So you get all these hundreds of people parking all over the place to join your efforts. And
Well, it's true, and I will be very honest with you in saying that we really don't have a whole lot of control about the events that the city approves.
I
be in
know,
this
but there's,
park. But
there's
we
not
can-
many Olmsted parks in this city.
I know, but we should be banding together when we don't like something. It's hard for us to just say, we don't want a cross-country event to happen in this park, or a cross-track event to happen in this park. We need you to have our rights too.
But see, we don't know when it's gonna be.
So,
They're parking.
correct. But we could be proactive and send a letter to the city that says, we don't want events over a certain size. And I mean, Shakespeare is here. They have been here for 48 years. But we are seeing, like you say, the influx of cross-track bike races and everything else. They need a new home. They just need a new home. I
And
mean,
when Shakespeare, we can't accommodate the kind of crowds that.
but we may be able to, once Albright's new underground parking opens up, there's not enough spots. So then my question, and it doesn't help because the building's already built. But
Well, they close at 5 o'clock, so they should be empty if they allow access like they had before, that does have.
No, they're gonna have access.
I'm sorry?
But these should have been questions that we were asking before.
Well, they haven't made a determination on it yet, based on the conversation I've had with them. That's a discussion that they're too busy to have right now, but it's something that they've had, before, because it is like a key card that, they can pay. So there is, parking, I'm sure they're gonna have security.
I know.
Am I right? Oh, okay.
Well, the Buffalo AKG, yes.
Okay.
There are 80 spots, roughly 80 plus spots that I can share with you right now. And we have taken Shakespeare into consideration. And we do intend to have the parking lot open to accommodate Shakespeare specifically. So we are gonna make that lot available to the public to be able to park in there.
And Lisa does also operate a cart during
We
peak times
do,
for
and again,
handicap.
just so we do a plan for the commissioner as well. And again, it's been 48 years, so this is not a new thing what's happening, but we are very strict with what's in our program, but if you park illegally, you should get a ticket. Like, I have no problem with that, they should get a ticket. And we're very much about that, and we let people know that you have to be out of the park by 10:30. So if people are parked after that point, unless there's a wedding, I don't know what the wedding time, I think it's 11 o'clock. They should be ticketed, and I agree, I'm a very big rule follower. So I do think we need to be more, here's the plan, get a ticket. I laughed, I parked at the Albert Knoxville meeting one day, and I was there at 4:55, $50 ticket for just parking on Lincoln Parkway. So I got a ticket, so.
Just more enforcement of where the spots are.
Right.
They give us a great
It's
experience
spot.
all the time, because we have the staff, I remember you guys are saying,
Yeah.
we're all finishing up. So it's not so much the time, and when, by 12:30, 1 o'clock, or 1 or.
Whatever, yeah, whatever the time is.
But space-wise-
Things where you couldn't get into the park. I used to tell people to get clothes all the best, but again, like you said, I'm only one person,
Right.
so.
So as a point of action, because I don't want us to just have venting sessions and then we don't have any type of action. So, Leon, okay,
Not in people, I can feel for them because I've traveled that route many times. And I'll go back to when I was a kid, 70 years ago, and my father couldn't drive through Delaware Park in his sedan delivery, which was the size of a station wagon, but it did not have windows. It was a closed panel truck, and it had commercial plates, and he would not drive through Delaware Park because he would get a ticket. We had tractor trailer trucks.
Yeah.
On Nottingham Terrace, I got cut off by a tractor trailer truck today on the 198. They couldn't believe it. This tractor trailer truck, they gotta be eliminated. So I don't know if you guys close the parking on the ring around the golf course or not, but I think that somebody should think about maybe reopening that parking that they closed around the thing there. So and my other short point is nothing against students. I went back to college late in life when I was a student. But the students, and I don't think we have a representative of Buff State here, but maybe Buff State should lower the parking rate so that the students don't park on Rumsey Road and maybe they can get a permit to park over there. If not, maybe we gotta put meters up to help pay for enforcement of different rules. So that's my 2 cents.
But is there a form? I mean, you sent out how many postcards? Where are they? And thank you for being here, but this is a serious issue for people that live around this area.
It is.
But where are our neighbors? Other neighbors in the individual here voicing their opinion, but where's everybody else?
I went to all, and I was concerned because I didn't get a note. And I encouraged my neighbors to attend this meeting. Why waste your time? Why waste your time? Why waste?
So, yeah,
yeah.
My neighbor didn't know.
I think, yeah, I think that what you just mentioned with the Buffalo State.
Yeah.
They are an important neighbor. If you notice, last weekend, I think it was on Saturday, there was a rally of the UUP, which is the University Union people on the Buffalo State. And they provided for the union people. And there is a lot of parking.
Well, they have so much parking. Maybe people like the shovel.
Share it.
People come with parking and shovel.
But the park commissioner should do something about this. I mean, come on.
So I'm gonna take everything on parking back to the city. I'll write something up. I'm also gonna write a letter to see if you all will sign on to it as far as doing something about enforcement. Because it's just out of control right now. So I will do that, and I will make sure that we've got the minutes as far as all of the comments have been made. And it's being recorded, so we'll make sure that that gets over to the city. So can't do anything about parking tonight, but trash is the third topic. Trash, which is always a fun one. And our crews do their best to pick up every shred of trash. And as I sent to some of the neighbors, right now our crew is 5 full-time and 4 seasonal. 9 people that are taking care, of 225 acres. This happened. Okay, so just be patient with us because we're just ramping back up. There's always winter damage. It's horrible. It breaks my heart, the winter damage. If you can see the plow damage that's done to the granite, beautiful historic curves all through this park, it breaks my heart. And we're not in charge of curves. We're in charge of what's beyond the curves. So we can talk about that with streets as well. As to when are you going to repair the curves? We need that answer because we've got a lot of damage. So I'll bring that. But as far as the trash,
Does that include the curbs on the parkway?
yes. Yeah. So with regard to the trash, here at the Terrace, I think Jason's done a very good job. We used to, when we started, Jason had special event totes that were out forever. And we've consolidated all of that into one dumpster, which I think has been a big help so that we don't have multiple cans just for the Terrace. There's one. We still have the trash cans throughout the park. I can't make somebody use a trash can. I'm really offended that there are people that just drop their trash on the ground. I've followed people that take their dog litter and just drop it on the ground as they walk past, and I'm thinking, you know, there's not a litter fairy or a dog poop fairy that's picking it all up, but that's how people are treating the parks right now. And we're gonna try with some public messaging as far as, we've been talking about working with Shakespeare too. Like when you bring it in, bring it back out. You've got a trash can at home. That's what they do in Central Park. That's in Olmsted Park. Why aren't we treating it the same way? So we're gonna bring a lot of those messages back for use. But as far as the daily trash care here, I think it's been good. If you don't think the restaurant's been doing a good job with trash, let me know. As far as the rest of the park and trash, just know we do our best every single morning to pick it up before we even get started in operations.
I gotta tell you, in that number, 9 employees. Think about this.
Yeah.
9 employees to maintain this park and the zoo.
Yeah.
What are we doing to get that?
I wish I could hire people. No one wants a job right now.
Is it a monetary or?
No, it's happening everywhere. It's usually the employees. The weirdest thing right now. We've been invested in doing the workforce development program to teach people how to do landscaping. To bring people in, give them a good job, we pay great benefits. So we don't know why we're not finding a lot of folks that want to work in the sheriff's bid. We're just not finding.
And you get the prisoners that come in, like sheriff's department?
We actually just worked with CEO, which is a charitable organization that brings in the recovering incarcerated.
Right.
The only issue we have is we have to make sure there's no sex offenders, child or sex offenders in that group. But we definitely would work with them if they have the right personnel to help.
They
us.
want to get out.
We're working really hard. We've had over, I want to say 15 companies that have reached out that want to help us with regards to kind of employee engagement and getting involved in the parks as a part of giving back. So we hope to see a lot more robust companies coming back and wanting to help us with 35 to 50 volunteers so we can take something out for a day. We haven't had the Buffalo Bills back for 4 years because of the pandemic. They used to come and help us for an entire weekend and help us, get all the playgrounds ready and everything else. So it's not that we're not trying, it's just that we don't have enough people right now. And so hopefully you can help us spread the word too. We need as many volunteers. We have actually, if you have a chance to meet, we have 3 wonderful Burmese workers that are in the park here. And we would love to have any, we're even working with interpreters, make sure that when they sign their paperwork, we know which version of Karen they're speaking. So we're really trying.
Section 42, then I can bring them up here.
What?
Section 42 of Mexican border. I think bring them up here.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You
So
have somebody that volunteers in your group?
we do. Christy Munson is in charge of volunteers and she's doing a great job.
Are we not recruiting enough?
We are
volunteers?
trying our darndest. When the pandemic hit, we saw a depletion of, because nobody wanted to be next to each other. And it's really hard to work with volunteers and be 6 feet apart, and regulate all that. So it's been hard to, right. So we're trying to bring that back up. And like I said, we've seen already 15 companies that wanted to come forward this year. So hopefully that'll continue to grow. Yes.
So I just have a quick question about us doing our part. Just a comment on the trash. So along Nottingham in the summertime, it's not that people have picnics, they will set up big plastic tents on pallets, have 6 to 8 people partying, and then around 6 o'clock at night, they dump a bag of trash in the park. That happens every weekend. As neighbors, like I picked up that trash a number of times and thrown it in our own trash bin, but is there trash that, like big dumpsters that us as neighbors, if we see something, we can go throw it in the dumpster? Because I'm not gonna pick up a bag of trash and put it in my neighbor's trash.
Right. There should be totes, green totes
Yeah.
that should be dotted along Nottingham, dotted along the park, dotted along.
Yeah, there is, but just one more point on that.
Sure.
Like, if you have all of our addresses,
Mhm.
it would, I know it's a weird thing to do, but it would be nice to have a map of where all the trash drop off are. So it's a kind of like, I don't know, I hate to be Smokey the Bear, but like,
No,
like if I'm more than happy to throw other people's trash from the park into the park trash. But we know that, I mean,
right. The only thing with the totes is they're on wheels and they may not stay stationary. They get
I
moved
don't
all.
think I've ever seen them.
Okay,
There's one right there.
No, I mean,
Oh, and yours.
okay. Then I will make sure we get totes.
Well, where? There's no trash.
I will make
So,
sure we get.
carry around.
You got it.
Yeah.
That was an easy fix. That's an easy fix. That's an easy fix. Yes.
With regards to the trash that they have picked up, sometimes I'm inclined to pick up something. Have they come across any sharps?
Oh, yeah.
So there's
Yeah, we
a
just had to-
danger there.
Yeah, we just had to put our entire staff through opiate training, what to do if you're picking up a needle, like we've had to, the bloodborne pathogen. We've had to, unfortunately, they're having to be trained in that on a regular basis too, which is
There's a lot of
unfortunate.
needles. Yeah. that's-
Yes. And we have started to see more homeless. We have, I mean, there's just a few issues that are happening in the park that has not really been a problem in the past. And so I don't know what's changing, but we're just seeing more bad behavior. I don't know why. So as far as trash, we will get more bins out along Nottingham. That's no problem. And I'll make sure that we get a few more out in the park too. Again, I can't force somebody to use it. And we're gonna work with Shakespeare and others to, if you bring it in, take it out policy.
Yeah. And,
So
it was my daughter said, what's the living wages are going?
Oh, no, I think I figured that was probably going up a week.
well, cost of
The
living
wage
is going up and minimum wage is going up.
Oh,
So, but it's
It's
all,
a lot of salaries.
it's all relevant.
Yeah.
So anything else? Those are the three hot topics for the terrace: business, parking, and trash.
Real
And-
quick with that Mondays, contact you last year about
Yes.
the illegal parties going on.
Yes,
With the bands that's
Yes.
hooked into the boathouse. And is that gonna happen this year again?
that,
Anybody
see,
ever find out?
I get to, this is the most wonderful time of the meeting where I can say, Natalie, what's happening with all of those vendors?
It's an obvious sanctioned event, I didn't know the boathouse.
No, that was an illegal event for decades, I don't know how long, but COVID has made it a million times worse, because everyone was going into the park for all, for a rave, I guess. Is what they're
Right.
calling it. Because Jason is closed on Mondays,
It's
so
tied in with the boathouse is open, you're plugged in on a power right there. So the boathouse sanctions it.
I never heard that.
It was on Nottingham since 2000.
I don't think the boathouse has electric.
Well, they're plugging it up, they're running.
They're probably running towards into Jason's
Yeah.
facility,
You plug that.
without his knowledge.
They, like, I see them plug in to the end of the,
Yeah.
you know,
The
the.
last month, last year, they had a cord run up the stairs. Plugged in the back.
I've seen one of the cameras that come down.
And then what happens is the boathouse is open, and I asked the guy about it, and then the chef set up outside the chef. He goes, well, I don't know, like, I don't work for the Olmsted people, that's what the guy said. So,
I mean, I just come down on Monday, because my arm's going on, this and that, you know,
Right.
and, you know. open, that's, you know, all the civilians, you know, like, person is like, probably they want to, and we were open, we have something over this. This one, I'm like, they had a permit.
They do.
So can I give history now? I know
They
this
did
very.
not have a special event permit through the city.
Right.
This is what we found out, because there's fire guys that are doing the cons with the fire.
Right.
They went to the fire marshal. The fire marshal gave them. And so they have. Right, that's what happened to Jason that one summer, where a bride went to the fire marshal and got a permit to do fireworks. And that.
I'm like, I said, no, the fireworks, I told this client, I said. "You can get the permit from the city, from the fire marshal, good for you. I said, you know, thinking there was a snowball's chance, and I could not believe that they went to, got a special event permit and a firework permit, and got it, and the Conservancy, and, you know, like, yeah, I didn't like that. Like, I didn't know until I walked up and, you know, and saw the fireworks, I was like, it's a nice place, so it's gonna get trouble.
So I don't know if your question was answered, but do they have they filed for a
Yeah,
permit
they now have a permit.
officially?
They officially.
So how
have-
do you fight to permit them? Because they,
So-
they're plugging into, the plugs aren't GFCI protected out here. So the park is liable, the city's liable. Go test the GFC, they're not GFCI protected.
Yeah,
They're
so
plugged.
the issue with every special
And
event.
I'm seeing generators.
Yeah, but they're plugging in, and if you go test the plug over there, I took my tester on there, and it's not GFCI protected. I
Yeah,
had a
so-
bunch of auto.
So every special event
Yeah.
in the park, including Shakespeare in the park, goes through the city of Buffalo. We are then told what the event is and okay, you have to okay every event,
Okay.
but with stipulation. So Monday night is approved with the stipulation that it ends at 8:30 or whatever the permit says.
Why are they going to 1, 2 in the morning there, though?
Yeah, so the idea last year is, okay, we'll help the city permit it because there'll be more oversight. But because no one really knows, no one's here on Mondays. especially nowadays. And
With Albright opening, we're planning on opening.
So it's,
That's gonna be a problem, because it's a pot fuel festival.
it's.
There's whips of pot everywhere, and
Oh, it's bad.
they stopped last year later until 10 o'clock. You should stop right at 10 o'clock, because the music carries across, if you live in Nottingham,
Yeah,
it carries right over. It's like thump, thump, thump. But it was going to 1, 2 in the morning, and then
yeah.
finally
They
they
started to stop it, like,
10 o'clock.
okay, I guess I.
So you're saying 8:30, but it's.
So last year it must have been, it was triggered by someone calling the city and us not knowing what was going on. We heard there was someone's kid that works for the Conservancy, was like, oh yeah, I go to the Point Lake on Mondays. And
Well,
so,
that's what Stephanie mentioned, there's too many events going on here, that should
Yeah.
not be happening here.
Correct.
You got families walking by, I almost got hit by it at the time with that plane, I think it landed in front of me. Then was stripped on the little thing walking through, because it was like blocked off, but I didn't even see it, the girl goes, oh, sorry, and I almost stripped. This is very nice.
so it's, where can we all agree on, because it's going to happen, like they're either gonna have it here, they're gonna move it to the other side, it's gonna happen because these people have been doing it for since COVID. So we just need more oversight, and I would love to share with you.
Focus on it, what year, 2 years ago?
Yeah, but it's gotten a lot
So
bigger.
since they did it for 2 years, it's okay.
No, they've been doing it for decades, but COVID made it a lot worse.
We have been in 2010, started last couple.
That's not what I heard from some people that are at it. No,
Okay.
I-
We live.
So it's an actionable on, I wanna have a call to action on this. So we've just discussed, there are too many events.
It's too many
happening.
events, that's what it is.
So,
It should affect your.
and I know that Councilmember Joel Farrelletto supported a moratorium on events on Bidwell Parkway when Bidwell started getting completely overrun. And we are at a point now with Bidwell that we can't even restore the grass because there are so many things that are happening. So I am very agreeable to writing to Joel and saying, we need to reassess how many events are happening in this park and to talk about what the limit is. Because I agree with you, we can't, the park can't sustain it. My staff can't sustain cleaning up after every single one of these events that we don't even get support for. Everybody pays a special event fee to the city takes the money, we get nothing. So we should be talking as a community about what we think this park can sustain. And I'm happy to do that. Okay?
Yes.
So. Yeah. Well, and with that, I know that Z has been trying to get everybody's address, so we make sure we've got everybody. But if you've got a postal address, it should be coming to us because we go through the post office and pull the street. So we'll do our best, but yeah, we're gonna get this out to everybody that's here.
Everywhere, I'm here and there.
Yep.
So people that didn't show up.
Yeah.
They don't know. Thank you.
Are you telling me to shut up? What do you say? This is concern for us. We'll deal with this. Okay. You said there's one conversation. What does that mean? My conversation or?
It's all good. It's all good. We're gonna solve what we can with a special event.
Yeah.
So we've got 4 actionables, so now they're coming out of this meeting.
Yeah.
So
One last question. What are you?
only because
Okay.
okay.
Because there's really concern. And I had the same challenge with you, Bill, with hiring employees.
Sure.
And we really had to get innovative.
Yes,
The staff might know.
yes,
We've done stuff we've never stopped.
Yep.
But I gotta get this thing.
you're still obsessing over the 9
You
people
got
for
that, and that
225 acres.
includes Bidwell Parkway.
Yes.
You're kidding.
I'm not
All
kidding you.
right, so what are we paying these workers now?
So we are paying $1 over minimum wage.
It's not enough.
I know, but that's what we can afford. We're a nonprofit. We have no ability to charge prices for the service that we do.
Wow.
It's completely based on donations. So please give.
I will. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, they try really, really hard, and we have a whole new district supervisor and his crew that are just amazing, and they're very dedicated. They went through our workforce development program 2 years ago, so they get it when it comes to what the quality of an Olmsted landscape should look like. But you gotta give them a chance. They're brand new, but they love their jobs and they love what they're doing. There's just not enough of them. So we'll keep trying hard.
You're gonna continue to struggle with that.
We will, but you know, we're
Well,
We're doing what we
let me
can.
get one this way.
Sure.
On the staffing.
Yeah.
Why don't you hire less to pay more?
Oh, because what we're doing right now with us?
No, what I'm saying is you're at 9. You're at 9.
Yeah,
You can't hire them.
right.
How many people do you really need?
Oh, we need probably 3 times. the
All right,
amount
so
of
you
people
need,
that we have.
27.
Yes, at least,
And you
Yes.
can't get them,
right,
and it's because of money.
right.
So instead of
Well,
going.
and interest.
All right, okay, but I gotta believe, based on my experience, money talks. So if you're trying to hire 27 or 30 people in a labor market where there is nobody to hire less and pay more.
Right, but then I've set my budget off, because now the people that are getting paid more, even though there's less, now when I need more people, now I've just set everything out of whack. It's a crazy conundrum that we're in. What we really need is an endowment. We don't even have an endowment, so just know that I hear everything you're saying, I really do, and I agree with everything you're saying. Just know that we're doing our best.
Well, what can we do?
What can you do?
Is it money?
What, the 4 action items that we talked about, if you support the letters that we're gonna be writing to enforcement, to special events, you know, with regard to supporting a take-in, take-out trash program, that would be very helpful. So just know that you have our backs and we're trying to have yours. So there's more in the presentation. I don't know if you really want to go through it, but I could probably just wrap up without having to go through a gazillion slides, but they are, Region Central is going to be moving into the next phases of design with regard to the 198. So there will be some more community input on those designs. I can let you know, we have a position statement on our website about how we feel about the design. We really want to see more of the Olmstedian roadway come through, not a highway. You know, we actually think that they could design this to have parking on the sides and cars in the middle, to help with parking as well off the 198. But we also hope that they will go under at Delaware and create a land bridge, so the 2 sides of the park will be connected again. There's a lot of good things. And then we really hope that they will be able to do the curve to the 33 and connect with that project. It seems like no one wants to be able to handle the curve as the biggest math problem that no one can figure out. So there tends to be this gap of where the 198 project stops and the 33 starts. And this seems really weird that we're not going to finish.
We should be able to get some of that 100 million
I know, yeah.
over this way.
Absolutely, money from there. Yeah, that'd be great. So 198, just start looking for some more information on how that design process will go. And then we're gonna, this is like all technical stuff, recommended design, all of this great stuff. Recommended a new Skajapa Parkway that would be more in line with Olmsted. It's gonna run this whole length. And like I said, it ends right here, and this is about where the 33, so we got a gap about half months.
We just back up to one thing,
Sure,
the Nottingham neighbors with the closure of the ring parking.
Yes.
Did you guys do that? Did you initiate that or the city?
So if you ask the city will say they did it. And if you ask us, we say the city did it. What it is, we helped the city do a survey. We had over 10,000 survey participants come back in. And the majority of the surveys, about 80%, said that they wanted the ring road closed. And we looked at everything, zip code and everything else, to know that we were dealing with city residents, not commuters. And so the city decided, common council voted, and in November, that road was officially closed.
Oh, the common council voted on it?
Yes. So that is a road that is now closed. What the city has told us is that they have a grant from the state that they're waiting to get their grant dispersal agreement on. And with that grant money, they're going to design better access. Z, in all of her infinite wisdom, is put us in touch with the Idea Center at UB, who focus on accessibility and mobility in parks.
Why don't we make it parking with
So-
meters?
So,
We get the money to hire more people.
how about the zoo? The zoo has been going through their master planning process. And we would very much support, because the zoo always wants to take parkland for parking. We would very much support them building a deck on their current lot and going up about 2 levels. There's an apartment building right across the street that's up 2 levels. There's no reason why that can't happen, and then that you would have 3 times the parking right there at the zoo. So just know that we're willing to work on alternatives, but the road right now is going to stay closed until the common council decides otherwise.
One last thing that I have to
If you're
vent
going to
on.
be easy to land.
Well, every year.
Okay.
I bring it up. I want this building open all year round. When I was a kid 70 years ago, we used to be able to ice skate out there and we would get hot chocolate downstairs and hot dogs or whatever. And I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was open all winter long.
Perfect segue.
Are you open all year? long? Oh, I didn't know.
Perfect segue.
Fine, I'll say.
I escaped from you. Either way, I followed.
No, I mean, we've had years where we've had to close, we've, changed our,
I didn't know you were open. I'm sorry.
no, that's all right, we're happy to have you come by. We are, closed on, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I'm sorry, Mondays and Tuesdays, we're open Wednesdays, Tuesdays.
Cool.
So,
I apologize.
and with, the, very welcome addition of Albert Knox, we hope to be able, we will be open, for lunch, because
Yes.
I mean, the last couple of years, obviously, we haven't been able to because, there hasn't been any spots, along Lincoln Parkway.
It's hard.
So, like, we're as concerned about parking as everybody else is. We, my golf cart drivers, are always driving around and, reminding people that aren't, our patrons, or anybody in the park, that's, if they're parking by somebody's driveway, you still park there. They go around and offer, we can't enforce, but we offer, we offer.
If the college students were parking in the parking lot where they should be, the parking on the street.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see your patrons park on Rumsey.
There's a ton of students that we see, coming over parking because they don't want to be where parking and walk over to Buff State. I went to Buff State a million years ago. I did the same thing. I was wrong. I was wrong then. Okay, so, this was our, last big, capital improvement, in the Marcy Casino. So far, we've put in, I don't know the exact number, but about $5.5 to $600,000, dollars into, bringing.
Into a public building.
Yes,
I know.
with,
I love it.
with a lease, but not a mortgage. And this is a building that was built in, in the 1890s. It requires so much upkeep, and maintenance. And it is a big challenge for the business to, keep investing in it, but we know how important it is, and it's such a great location. And it's, we're here because we're very passionate about the parks. We're very passionate about this location. Our customers that come in are always telling us how important this space is to them, and how they have emotional attachment to it. And that's why it's a very, popular spot for weddings.
You still doing the
So,
greenhouse?
so
What's it? No, we looked at the greenhouse. The greenhouse was beautiful in pictures. For a couple reasons, we decided not to do the greenhouse. One was it was a significantly bigger weight strain on the, you know, what is not the, you know, strongest members, you know, underneath. It's definitely sufficient. It's definitely strong, but there were some structural issues, or not structural issues, concerns that was brought up, you know, by the city
Hold it
engineers.
more permanently though?
That's something we can look at, but one of the things that like our customers want and a lot of people want is they want the hybrid, they don't want the glass, they don't want to feel enclosed. And with
What
the
the
enclosure,
green thing like in.
well, the enclosure
greenhouse
requires,
also was cause moisture issues. The third, we've already
from
got.
an HVAC standpoint, it just started creating so many engineering issues that, you know, my head was spinning. So, and then when we were talking, you know, telling our clients like what the plans were, they were coming in and saying, that's not what we want. We want that, you know, inside, outside, you know, we want that open air experience. So, you know, I sat down with the design review board, some of the members on that. They gave me a proposed, you know, some ideas. Sat down with Kohler Awning. I was at the Lake House in Canandaigua, and I saw these roll-up curtains. I'm like, that's what I want. I took a picture of it and I sent it to Matt Kohler and I said, can you do this? He's like, we can do it and we can do it better. And the design, we got to give it more of a traditional, you know, like raised panel, you know, look. And the canopy was designed, you know, green because they wanted to match the roof with the, you know, with the copper, patina copper. I would love to eventually, you know, replace it. This was so far been about $175,000, you know, investment for us to do this, and the construction costs are, you know, through the roof. It's hard to get contractors. I mean, just to get the heaters was about $70,000 in here. So, but what this allows us to do is, you know, host better events, you know, throughout the year, you know, give more space. And, you know, we've had, and we want to do more community, you know, type events. We hosted a great, you know, Soup Fest. We hosted a Burger Fest this year. A lot of things we haven't done in, you know, in many years. So we are focused on being very community, you know, involved and being very open. We don't want to be, one of the biggest criticisms that we heard from the public when we were the exclusive caterer here is that, you know, unless I'm, you know, coming to a wedding and bringing $100 gift, I can't ever come to the Marcy Casino. It's such a beautiful spot. And that's when we started to get the feedback, like, why don't you open up, you know, a little restaurant upstairs, you know? And that's really where the idea was born. I'm like, that is a great idea. It's something we kept hearing back from the public. We started doing some, you know, happy hours. We're like, well, let's test this, you know, one night a week during the summer. And it just kept getting more and more popular. Something we kept hearing more, and, you know, our council members were coming, and, you know, people from the media were coming, and it was just so popular. And then it was really, because we got some resistance, it was really the popularity from the public. It was the push from the public that helped us get over the hump and to make this a reality. So I'm grateful. I see so many of my regulars, and I see so many of my regulars here tonight, and thank you all for coming and supporting us. I understand that the parking has been a concern in the last couple of years. It has been, you know, worse for a couple different reasons. One, you had, and I started to touch on this, but I just want to get back to it for a second. So it was kind of a perfect storm last year, and I expect it to be much better this year, where so many weddings were getting canceled and canceled, canceled and canceled, and everybody was short-staffed. And then we went through this year last year where everybody was like, I don't care if we're getting married on a Thursday, I don't care if we're getting married on a Wednesday, on a Friday, on a Saturday. So we had far more larger events last year than we ever had. And on top, you had, you know, like the Valley Partners who were hired by our clients were having a hard time getting staffing, just like the kids, where they're supposed to show up, you know, at a certain time to set up a better plan. You know, they weren't able to, sometimes they would fall short on that. You know, like I'm looking at my calendar this year, and we've got a fair amount of weddings that I'm happy about, but it's nothing like last year's calendar. Most of our events are 60 people, they're 80 people, they're not, most of them are not getting valet parking. You know, it was like last year was, you know, it was the first year back where everybody was doing bigger events. And, you know, it was tough on top of, you know, all ABK, you know, being closed and those, you know, events in the History Museum. So there's a lot of things going on. I expect it to be a lot better this year. You know, the parking situation is not lost on me. I know we make commitments to that. It's very important to me that people are not parking in front of anybody's driveway, but people are parking in legal spots. You know, I don't go around, I'm not paying politicians or parking commissioners saying, leave me alone. We want people to park legally and not block anyone's driveway. We don't want people to litter in the park. You know, we consider ourselves, you know, part of the neighborhood, and we want to give back to the neighborhood. You know,
I'm being soon,
But
constructed and
we can only, the AKG, I believe, is supposed to open up June 15th.
Oh, good.
Yes, when? Give us a date.
Yeah. Standing. Can't wait.
I cannot wait.
Well, and we hoping to, in concert with that the stairs will be done by then. So you'll have two major projects
Both
done.
stairs.
This one has got to be done, the one here that the city's done, or else I think Lisa's gonna kill me through Shakespeare because they got all their stuff all over,
Yeah,
so.
real quick, when it comes to stair projects, one thing if you would, you know, indulge in supporting us, the city wants to redo these stairs and these stairs, which those stairs took a really long time to do and they were in more dire repair. These stairs, I think, I mean, if anyone's ever been to Pittsburgh, these stairs would be a dream for anybody who lives in Pittsburgh. I don't think they need to be done, but there are a lot of capital improvements around this park that I'm sure you agree do need to be done, like the facade, you know, falling off and, you know, bringing more back, you know, in other areas of the park. I would love to see those funds reattributed to, you know, more important, you know, infrastructure, you know, in the park. So these have been, you know, in your way, or, you know, an eyesore, it's been 10 times, you know, more for us. And I'm grateful for them to take on that project, but I would rather see the funds that they want to, you know, put in there, you know, starting later this year, reappropriated somewhere else, you know, getting some better curbs, fixing the lights, you know, facade falling from the ceiling. And back to your question.
So the weddings, you guys were doing the glass, atrium and all that, that 25, always concerned about and placements and during the lake and out. Has there been any thought to, you know, to that issue with not going with the glass? Like these, I'm assuming this is all going to be open up and.
Yeah, well, the concern with the glass when we talked about the wet glass is very, very heavy and the steel that would hold the glass
No, I
was
understand.
unsafe for the structure.
We're just worried about noise.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think most of the noise concern, we very rarely have, you know, big bands. We are always mindful of, you know, Shakespeare, so we usually don't, we try to keep the noise at a pretty good level, and I think we've done a really good job with that in the last 5 years. Yes.
I talked to Robin Furman, and he said that we were talking about last, when the band's gonna end, and somebody said that to maybe midnight, and I don't park all the time, but he said he walked in this building, and the building was rocking, and we were so loud, Rocco don't work, and.
So, I mean, I'm just.
He said, no, 11:30 is fine.
Yeah, okay, but he said, he didn't close, he said they should take care of it, but now since it's be back open again, that's what's.
Okay, Rocco has never been here past 10 o'clock. He can go to bed at 9. He was very much in favor of the greenhouse, and I think he was looking for a narrative to more push that, you know, Rocco, right, he really wanted, you know, the greenhouse, it just, you know, from a lot of different aspects, one from the safety and the structural aspects, and that's really what is done.
But we'll keep
I've
an
never
eye.
seen Rocco here past 8:45.
Yeah. If there are issues that happen, let us know, and we'll let Jason.
No, one of the things that we try to do is, we work now more so, like, years ago, it was more like the, you know, what was it? There was much more, people would, rent this place, have a wedding, hire their DJ, and that DJ would come in, and I'd be fighting with them, Lisa could tell you, because they were telling, they're like, I don't work for you, I don't work for you, I work for her, and she's drunk, and she wants to do a Macarena, and I'm gonna play it as long as she wants. And we said, yeah, and we said, you're all fired. And now, if you're having a wedding here, especially during Shakespeare season, you have to hire a preferred vendor who is proving themselves to be, mindful of the Shakespeare time frame, of the noise levels in the neighborhood. And, and if there's anybody new, because they're insistent on it, I have a personal sit down with them and make it very clear that, I would pull the plug if that's not fair. We very rarely have live bands here. Live bands are usually, with the louder ones, and I don't know how many times I've gotten calls. But
The way they.
there's been, many times that, I've gotten calls because of the loudness of the music where I was like, Stephanie, I don't have a it's not. It's not always because, like we have.
There's, and there's some other motions.
Okay. We spent a lot of time figuring out how to keep the sound in the bubble of the hill, and it's not easy, and it takes time. Oh, yeah, and Jay, we've been talking about that for years, how to keep the name. We have the same. This is because I feel like they might as well be on the stage. So it's about how you face your speakers, and we're working on that, and I swear to gosh, in the next 30 years, we're gonna have it work.
There you go. So, one thing I just wanted to wrap up with is we will be having park security again. This is another thing. We're not the enforcers, but we are working with others to invest in private security. You have a neighbor on Rumsey Road that has decided, instead of asking his neighbors to participate in helping to pay for it, he's just gonna write the check this year. And so there is a Rumsey neighbor that is gonna pay for security privately in the park this summer, which is above and beyond. We know that we're gonna be working with Shakespeare and Jason and ourselves on probably an additional security detail to watch over the Rose Garden, because we do have a lot of really bad behavior with teens and these flash mobs that are coming in with like 100, 300 kids. And I don't know if you saw the damage last year, but they completely graffitied the pergola right before a wedding. And thank God we had guys that knew how to paint, because here's our landscape guys painting a pergola at the last to try to get it ready for the wedding. So just know that we're going to try to have more security out there, but we don't have park police. I wish we had the Central Park Rangers as part of our staff.
Or we put the pressure on the D district to, do more patrols. We've talked to them, they have liaisons. So the input from neighbors would be.
The neighborhood did that, we had a break in, I'll be honest, when the police showed up that night, they didn't know that there was a stage in the middle of Delaware Park. And I was like,
They came in.
it was like, it's 47 years. I'm not trying to be, I know not everybody, but the fact that they didn't know there was a stage there. And again, it's not their, they can only do so much. I know they've got a lot going on, but they
came in and asked me, like, did you have a break in? I'm like, I didn't.
Yeah.
And they left.
And we did for years. I've been here for years. There used to be police that were
on
bikes all the time.
Yeah.
Just doing a drive-by. And, it's important that we all let them know it is important that people, that they come through our area. Because the kids did go crazy during COVID.
They did.
In the Rose Garden, 4 nights a week, there's at least 150 to 300. It got to the point where, and I called the police so many times that it's got at least 4 days a week. Am I exaggerating? I'm not a bit. So it got to the point where before I leave at the end of the night, I come over and bring home a bunch of garbage bags and tell them, I will not call the police on you. I'm telling you that nobody else is going to call the police on you. But will you please clean up after yourselves? And please don't create any damage to
Because
bird
it's
love.
scary, because if you go in and.
Because
Right.
get 300 kids in one reality, and you call them.
They got their hands.
I called the police anyways, but I went over there and told them I'm not going to.
So just know, we'll have some security, yes.
Stephanie, what are the rules and guidelines?
So they don't carry, so they don't have a gun. And they're only going to be here when the park closes, so their shift will start at 10, and they'll stay for 4 hours, they'll stay till 6. And it'll be every day of the week. So, and that's mostly for, the Rumpke area, because the soccer field there just gets inundated with kids as well. And we are starting to see a homeless presence hanging out in the shelter house. And so that tree will actually be starting, more.
What are the limits of the responsibilities?
Is to get people out of the park. Nobody should be in the park after 10. The park is supposed to be closed. So they will be asking people to leave. If there is a party or any type of behavior which would even pose a threat to them, they are calling BPD. And this particular agency that we're working with is retired policemen or off the clock policemen. So there should be a natural relationship to be able to call over do this.
And the security is limited to this part.
It's only to this half. It's only this half. We can't afford it everywhere. I wish it could, but thankfully you have a very kind patron on Rumsey that is going to pick up.
I know
the tab. So with that, is there anything else? So, but we can't be better without knowing. So just know that we take this all very constructively. We respect you all very much. We know how important it is to live in this neighborhood, and we're very proud to be taking care of it to the best of our abilities. So, and I will follow up with everything before I. Thank you, and thank you. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. If anyone has thank you. Sorry.